I was popping. It's Big Rich, Queens, New York City, where we get busy. Friday night business. The haters are hating. Nothing makes me happier. Gentlemen, come on in. Wipe your feet on the rug. Throw some smoke in the atmosphere. I just lit up a little bit of Joker number 70, and everything is just wonderful. Let's get right into business. Another spotlight, shall we, gentlemen and ladies? Joseph Anthony Colombo Sr. was the boss of the Colombo Crime Family, one of the 5 families of the American Mafia in New York City. Colombo was born in New York City, where his father was an early member of what was then the Profaci crime family. In 1961, the first Colombo War unfolded, instigated by the kidnapping of 4 high-ranking members in the Profaci family by Joe Gallo. Later that year, Gallo was imprisoned, and in 1962, family leader Joe Profaci died of cancer. In 1963, Bonanno crime family boss Joseph Bonanno had made plans with Joseph Magliocco to assassinate several rivals on the commission. When Magliocco gave the contract to one of his top hitmen, Colombo, he revealed the plots to its targets. The commission spared Magliocco's life but forced him into retirement while Bonanno fled to Canada. As a reward for turning on his boss, Colombo was awarded the Profaci family. His only jail term would come in 1966 when Colombo was sentenced to 30 days in jail for contempt by refusing to answer questions from a grand jury about his financial affairs. In 1970, Colombo created the Italian-American Civil Rights League. Later that year, the first Italian Unity Day rally was held in Columbus Circle to protest the federal persecution of all Italians everywhere. In 1971, Gallo was released from prison, and Colombo invited Gallo to a peace meeting with an offering of $1,000, to which Gallo refused, instigating the Second Colombo War. On June 28, 1971, Colombo was shot 3 times by Jerome A. Johnson, one being in the head, at the Second Italian Unity Day rally in Columbus Circle, sponsored by the Italian-American Civil Rights League. Johnson was immediately killed by Colombo's bodyguards. Colombo was paralyzed from the shooting. On May 22, 1978, Colombo died of cardiac arrest. Joseph Colombo Sr. was born into an Italian-American family on June 16, 1923 in Brooklyn. His father, Anthony Colombo, was an early member of the Profaci crime family, which would eventually be renamed after his son. In 1938, he was found strangled in a car with his mistress. Joe Colombo attended New Ulrich High School in Brooklyn, Salute, for 2 years, then dropped out to join the U.S. Coast Guard. In 1945, he was diagnosed with neurosis and discharged from the service. His legitimate jobs included 10 years as a longshoreman and 6 years as a salesman for a meat company. His final job was that of a real estate salesman. Colombo owned a modest home in Dyker Heights, Brooklyn, and a 5-acre estate in Blooming Grove, New York. He married Lucille Faiello in 1944 and had 5 children, including sons Christopher Colombo and Joseph Colombo Jr. and Anthony Colombo. Colombo followed his father into the Profaci family. He became one of the family's top earners and soon became a capo. In late November of 1961, Joe Gallo was sentenced to 7 to 14 years in prison for murder. On June 6 of 1962, Profaci died and was succeeded by longtime underboss Joseph Magliocco. In 1963, Joseph Bonanno, the head of the Bonanno crime family, made plans to assassinate bosses Tommy Lucchese, Carlo Gambino, and Stefano Magaddino, as well as Frank DeSimone. Bonanno sought Magliocco's support, and Magliocco readily agreed. Not only was he bitter from being denied a seat on the commission, but Bonanno and Profaci had been close allies for over 30 years prior to Profaci's death. Bonanno's audacious goal was to take over the commission and make Magliocco his right-hand man. Was assigned the task of killing Lucchese and Gambino and gave the contract to one of his top hitmen, Colombo. However, the opportunistic Colombo revealed the plots to its targets. The other bosses quickly realized that Magliocco could not have planned this himself. Remembering how close Bonanno was with Magliocco and before him Profaci, as well as their close ties through marriages, the other bosses concluded Bonanno was the real mastermind. The commission summoned Bonanno and Magliocco to explain themselves. Fearing for his life, Bonanno went into hiding in Montreal, leaving Magliocco to deal with the commission. Badly shaken and in failing health, Magliocco confessed his role in the plot. The commission spared Magliocco's life but forced him to retire as Profaci family boss and pay a $50,000 fine. As a reward for turning on his boss, Colombo was awarded the Profaci family. At the age of 41, Colombo was one of the youngest crime bosses in the country. He was also the first American-born boss of a New York crime family. When NYPD Detective Albert Seidman called Colombo in for questioning about the death of one of his soldiers, Colombo came to the meeting without a lawyer. He told Seidman, "I am an American citizen first class. I don't have a badge that makes me an official good guy like you, but I work just as honest for a living." On May 9th, 1966, Colombo was sentenced to 30 days in jail for contempt by refusing to answer the questions from a grand jury about his financial affairs. In April 1970, Colombo created the Italian-American Civil Rights League. The month his son Joseph Colombo Jr. was charged with melting down coins for resale as silver ingots. In response, Joseph Colombo Sr. claimed FBI harassment of Italian Americans, and on April 30th, 1970, sent 30 picketers outside FBI headquarters at 3rd Avenue and 69th Street to protest the federal persecution of all Italians everywhere. This went on for weeks. On June 29, 1970, 50,000 people attended the first Italian Unity Day rally in Columbus Circle in New York City. On February 1971, Colombo Jr. was acquitted of the charge after the chief witness in the trial had been arrested on perjury charges. Under Colombo's guidance, the League grew quickly and achieved national attention. Unlike other mob leaders who shunned the spotlight, Colombo appeared on television interviews, fundraisers, and speaking engagements for the League. In 1971, Colombo aligned the League with Rabbi Meir Kahani's Jewish Defense League, claiming that both groups were being harassed by the federal government. At one point, Colombo posted bail for 11 JDL members. In the spring of 1971, Paramount Pictures started filming The Godfather with the assistance of Colombo and the League. Due to its subject matter, the film originally faced great opposition from Italian Americans to filming in New York. However, after producer Albert Rudy met with Colombo and agreed to excise the terms Mafia and Cosa Nostra from the film, the League cooperated fully. In 1971, Joe Gallo was released from prison. As a supposedly conciliatory gesture, Colombo invited Gallo to a peace meeting with an offering of $1,000. Gallo refused the invitation, wanting $100,000 to stop the conflict, to which Colombo refused. At that point, acting boss Vincenzo Alloy issued a new order to kill Gallo. On March 11, 1971, after being convicted of perjury for lying on his application to become a real estate broker, Colombo was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. The sentence, however, was delayed pending an appeal. On June 28, 1971, Colombo was shot 3 times by Jerome A. Johnson. Colombo was paralyzed from the shooting. On August 28, 1971, after 2 months at Roosevelt Hospital in Manhattan, Colombo was moved to his estate in Blooming Grove. In 1975, a court-ordered examination showed that Colombo could move his thumb and forefinger on his right hand. In 1976, there were reports that he could recognize people and utter several words. On May 22nd of 1978, Colombo died of cardiac arrest at the St. Luke Hospital in Newburgh, New York. Colombo's funeral was held at St. Bernadette Catholic Church in Bensonhurst, and he was buried in St. John's Cemetery in the Middle Village section of Queens. Salute. Although many in the Colombo family blamed Joe Gallo for the shooting, The police eventually concluded that Johnson was a lone gunman after they had questioned Gallo. Since Johnson had spent time a few days earlier at the Gambino Club, one theory was that Carlo Gambino organized the shooting. Colombo refused to listen to Gambino's complaint about the league and allegedly spat in Gambino's face during one argument. However, the Colombo family leadership was convinced that Joe Gallo ordered the murder after his falling out with the family. Gallo was murdered on April 7, 1972. After the Colombo shooting, Joseph Iacovelli became the acting boss for 1 year before Carmine Persico took over. All right, ladies and gentlemen, another spotlight. Big Rich, Queens, New York City, where we get busy, about to light up. Kick back and relax for the rest of the evening. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let me know what you're smoking on, and we will talk soon. Salute.